I'm going to show you how to find this, right? Okay, so the question number 4, self-exercise 2.14. The function is y equals to x to the power of 5 over 4. Now, if let's say you don't know, but you know that this topic is small change and so on, you don't worry, you just differentiate this thing. The given function, you just differentiate. Then the pieces will come into your mind. Once you differentiate, you know you have dy dx, right? When you have the dy dx, you know you have to identify the delta y delta x. So if you don't know anything, you just don't leave it blank, right? Just differentiate this function. So how to differentiate this function? Right. Oh, no need yet, right? Now what is given to you, right? I don't want to differentiate yet. So what is given to you? 4% change in y. Oh, this 4% change in y, how are you going to express it in expression form, in like formula like that, right? Can you do that? Yes, right. Now the approximate change in y is actually delta y over y times 100. Now in this case, I use y, I didn't use y1 because y1 is not given, neither is x1 given. So I just leave it as y, just leave it as y. So delta y over y times 100 is 4%, 4%, right? So the next step, I change it to delta y. So delta y is 4 over 100 y. So I throw away the percentage sign already because delta y is not percentage, right? Delta y is a number. So what is this number? 4 over 100 y. So far, okay or not?
Can repeat,
Okay,
teacher.
okay. So now, what you are asked to find, right? What I asked to find? You are asked to find the percentage change in y. Percentage change in y, if you express it in symbol form, it means delta x over x times 100. They didn't ask you to find x delta x, they ask you to find delta x over x. Don't know, never mind, you just leave it like this first. Just do as usual. Do what you know. Find dy dx, then find delta y over delta x. Okay enough? Find dy dx, then find delta y over delta x. So this percentage thing, if you don't know, you just leave it aside first. Then they will come in later, right? Okay, right. Next. Okay. Now the formula that you need to know for this topic is delta y over delta x equals to dy dx. Now from this formula, the hint is you have to find dy over dx. So just start to find dy dx. Okay, dy dx, you bring down this number 5 over 4, put in front, then this 5 over 4 minus 1. 5 over 4 minus 1 is 1 over 4. So do you know how to differentiate? Just bring the number in front, then the index less by 1. So this is your delta y, dy dx. I replace the dy dx here with this function, the derived function, right? So delta y or delta x equal to this thing, which is dy dx. So what is the next step? What is the next step? Or you try to find delta y or delta x, right? Now here delta y is given, so you better find delta x lah. Can you see here delta y is given? So you find delta x. Okay. Right. So the next step is to find delta x. Oh, why I go and hide? Silap lah. Show. Okay. Show. Okay. Okay. Right. So now, okay. What am I doing? Okay. What I do here is like this. From here, the delta x I bring to the other side. This function here I bring to the left hand side. This equal sign is the center lah. Equal sign is the center. This one is called the left hand side. This one is called the right hand side. Can remember or not? Chen Tong? Can, so this one is called the left hand side, this one is called the right hand side. So delta x I bring to the right hand side. 5/4 you bring to the left hand side become 4/5. X to the power 1/4 you bring to the left hand side become x to the power of -1/4. Okay, then the delta y just remain here lor. The delta x already move over, the delta y remains here. Okay, is this step okay with you? Any question on this step? Okay.
Teacher,
Yes.
the delta y over delta x equal to 5/4 x power 1/4. The 5/4 x to the power of 1/4 not delta x delta y meh?
Yeah. It is dy dx. It is also delta y over delta x. But dy dx is one whole thing. Delta y delta x, you can separate them. You can move one to one side. Right? You can move. The delta x can move. Delta y or delta x, there are two values. Whereas dy dx is one value. So if you want to move the whole thing. But delta y or delta x, you can separate them. What is your question again?
The delta y over delta x equal to 5/4 x power 1/4. The 5/4 not the answer for delta y delta over delta x.
5/4 is not delta y or delta x. 5/4, this thing,
Because if differentiate means is delta y over delta x.
okay, right. Okay, now dy over dx, is what? Okay, differentiate this one, right? Differentiate this one. Okay. Okay, right. So dy dx, y equals to x 5/4. So dy dx, you bring down this 5/4, right? So this is 5/4, right? Then now your x to the power of 1, x to the power of something. So that something is this 5/4 minus 1. 5/4 minus 1 is 1/4. Is 1/4. 1/4. Why 1/4, right? So this is your dy dx, right? This is your dy dx. But they say dy dx is actually your delta y delta x. So I take this dy dx, I take this dy dx, I substitute inside the dy dx here. So that's why we get delta y or delta x is 5/4, x to the power 1/4. Because the whole thing is dy dx. So I just take the whole thing, then put inside the delta y or delta x. Is this okay?
Okay, teacher.
Okay. Now, if okay, then this step, I separate the delta y or delta x. Delta x move to the right hand side. Delta y, I just leave it on the left hand side. Is this step okay or not?
Okay, teacher.
Okay. So the next step is, you see the delta y, I put it orange color. Why? Because earlier on here, the delta y is actually known, you know. So I replace this delta y, which is orange color, with this 4/100 y. Is this okay? delta y from the previous part, I put inside the delta y here.
Okay.
Okay, now here we have a mixture of x and y, two variables. So I try to replace the y here with x, which is the y is what? Y is x to the power of 5 over 4. So I'm going to replace the y here with x to the power of 5 over 4 so that they can simplify further. Okay, so I replace it with this. The y I replace with x to the power of 5 over 4 so that I can simplify further. Is this okay or not?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, so now the x to the power negative 1 over 4 and the x to the power of 5 over 4, when you multiply together, you add the indices together. So what is the index now when you add these two together? You add these together, they become 1. Negative 1 over 4 plus 5 over 4 become 1. 4 times 4 becomes 16. 5 times 100 become 500. Is this okay or not?
Can, teacher.
Can. Okay, so we have found delta x, but this question, they ask us what is the percentage change in x. So percentage change in x, you cannot give them answer as delta x. So what you want to show is use this delta x divided by x times 100. So this delta x, you have to divide by x times 100. Okay, so this delta x here, I divide by x, then multiply by 100. Okay, this is your delta x. Then this one here is this one here, 100 over x, so 100 over x. Okay or not?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, so actually I have found the delta x. But I don't want the delta x. I want delta x over x. So I take this delta x, divide by x times 100. Delta x divide by x times 100. Okay, so this is it lah. This is it. Okay, then our answer is the x and x can cancel off. X and x can cancel off. So we are left with 16 over 5. The 100 and 100 also cancel off. 16 over 5 is what? 3.2. And because this is percentage change in x, I can put the percentage sign behind. So finally, x increases by 3.2%. Okay, so this type of question is approximation. So I repeat,